ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवेति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः। तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। निषिध्य निखिलोपाधिन्नेति नेतीति वाक्यतः विद्यादैक्यं महावाक्यैः निषिध्य निखिलोपाधिः नेति नेतीति वाक्यतः विद्यादैक्यं महावाक्यैः जीवात्मपरमात्मनोः आविद्यकं शरीरादि दृश्यं बुद्बुदवत्क्षरम् एतत् विलक्षणं विद्यात् अहं ब्रह्मेति निर्मलम् देहान्यत्वान्न मे जन्म जरा कार्शलयादयः शब्दादिविषयै सङ्गो निरिन्द्रियतया न च अमनस्त्वान्न मे दुःखरागद्वेषभयादयः अप्राणो ह्यमनः शुभ्र इत्यादि श्रुतिशासनात् निर्गुणो निष्क्रियो नित्यो निर्विकल्पो निरञ्जनः निर्विकारो निराकारो नित्यमुक्तोऽस्मि निर्मलः अहमाकाशवत् सर्वं बहिरन्तर्गतोऽच्युतः सदा सर्वसमसिद्धो निसङ्गो निर्मलोऽचलः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तैकम् अखण्डानन्दमद्वयम् सत्यं ज्ञानम् अनन्तं यत् परं ब्रह्माहमेव तत् एवं निरन्तराभ्यस्ता ब्रह्मैवास्मीति वासना हरत्यविद्याविक्षेपान् रोगानिवरसायनम् विविक्तदेश आसीनो विरागो विजितेन्द्रियः भावयेदेकमात्मानं तमनन्तमनन्यधिः भावयेदेकमात्मानं मनन्यधिः आत्मन्येवाखिलं दृश्यं प्रविप्लाप्य धिया सुधिः भावयेदेकमात्मानं निर्मलाकाशवत् सदा रूपवर्णादिकं सर्वं विहाय परमार्थवित् परिपूर्णचिदानन्दस्वरूपेणावतिष्ठते ज्ञातृज्ञानज्ञेयभेदः परेणात्मनि विद्यते चिदानन्दैकरूपत्वात् दीप्यते स्वयमेव तत् एवम् आत्मारणौ ध्यानं मथने सततं कृते उदितावगतिर्ज्वाला सर्वाज्ञानेन्धनं दहेत् अरुणेनेव बोधेन पूर्वं सन्तमसे हृते तत् आविर्भवेदात्मा स्वयमेवांशुमानिव आत्मा तु सततं प्राप्तोऽप्यप्राप्तवद्विद्यया तन्नाशे प्राप्तवद्भाति स्वकण्ठाभरणं यथा स्थाणौ पुरुषवद्भ्रान्त्या कृता ब्रह्मणि जीवता जीवस्य तात्विके रूपे तस्मिन् दृष्टे निवर्तते ॐ तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु I think we were in 43rd verse, right? Uh, 43rd verse, I think we had done. Am I correct? Anybody can guide me? It was 43rd verse, right? Yesterday, the last we
We
read.
have to do 43, I think.
Yeah, 40. Yeah.
42 we had done, no?
Yeah. 43rd also we had started, but I will read once again.
Aruna Dev, we didn't read about Arun Dev, no? This is
Arunene
about,
Bodhena.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
about the Aruna Dev.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dhanyavad, dear. Yeah. The screen is seen, right? Okay. So I'll just read the last paragraph of the previous verse, 42nd verse. The churning of knowledge is elaborately described in the Kaivalya Upanishad as read the discourses on Kaivalya Upanishad by Swami Chinmaya, Mantra 11. Kaivalya Upanishad is one of the minor Upanishads and no exhaustive commentary is available upon it elsewhere. In the ancient days, for the purposes of the rituals, fire was produced by turning a wooden rod on two wooden pieces, hollowed out for the ends of the rod to rest. When the rod is turned in these sockets, pressed down firmly, the friction creates heat and fire. This idea is taken here in this beautiful metaphor. The lower ego and the higher self are pressed to the Maha Mantra, I am the Supreme Self, Aham Brahmasmi, and When through reflection it is churned properly, the fire of knowledge is generated, and meditation fans it it into a conflagration. In this, all our ignorance and misconceptions are burnt down. These ashes of the
Conflagration is like the davanal, the
the
extensive
flame,
fire.
the
Yeah,
fire
extensive
flame.
fire which burns. So the the force taken after rubbing two rods, two
Wooden
wooden
this
rod onto the wooden pieces. So how much effort it would be taken to generate that heat and fire? It is
mm,
like a simile for that. How
our
much effort
practices.
one has to uh, do to realize this aham brahmasmi. And
Yes.
in that they have mentioned that the meditation is after knowing this knowledge and then doing
Mm,
meditation, that it fans it into a conflagration, like it acts
mm,
like a davanal, the fire which burns everything. So
mm. And I think
yeah,
the practices, they must be acting like a fuel, right? The more
yeah,
intense practices you have, the more intense the conflagration must be, the fire.
yeah.
And
The
once
more
you have,
sadhana is deep, and the more your you are in, meditation is basically the I read a term. It is a healthy introvertedness. It is
hmm.
a healthy introvertedness. We read somewhere.
Yeah,
So
it is the journey from mana to nama, as Gurudev
yeah,
says.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Dhanyavad, Doctor. Very nice. Wonderful sharing. So, in this, all our ignorance and misconceptions are burnt down. These ashes of the burnt up vasanas are the very glory, bhushana of Lord Parmeshwara Vibhuti. So, bhushana in Sanskrit means ornaments. The low dung ashes are symbolical only. Thus, the glory of a man of culture and perfection is that he has burnt up his lower nature in the fire of his own higher understanding of life and its consummate goal. Very beautiful. Okay, so we will go to the next verse. So we understand the importance of our sadhana, seva, satsang. The more intense they are, the earlier the recognition or realization. अरुणेनेव बोधेन पूर्वं सन्तमसे हृते तत आविर्भवेदात्मा स्वयमेवांशुमानिव स्वयमेवांशुमानिव. Arunena, by the Lord of the early dawn, Aruna, Eva, like, Bodhena, by the knowledge, Purvam, beforehand, Santamase, the universal darkness, Rite, when destroyed, Tatah, then, Avir Bhavet, rises, Atma, the self, Swayameva, of its own accord, Amshuman, the sun, Eva, like, Arunena, Eva, Bodhena, Purvam, Kshamyatam, it is Eva, not Eva. Arunena, Eva, Bodhena, Purvam, Santamase, Rite, Avirbhavet, Atma, Swayameva, Amshuman, Eva. The Lord of the early dawn, Aruna, himself, has already looted away the thick darkness. When soon the sun rises, The divine consciousness of the self rises when the right knowledge has already killed the darkness in the bosom. I repeat, the Lord of the early dawn, Aruna himself, has already looted away the thick darkness when soon the sun rises. The divine consciousness of the self rises when the right knowledge has already killed the darkness in the bosom. Ignorance is the thick pall of vasanas. We have to break through this darkness before we can get into the lit up citadel of truth, the treasure house of the experience divine. I repeat, ignorance is the thick pall of vasanas. We have to break through this darkness before we can get into the lit up citadel of truth, the treasure house of the experience divine. Soon after the early dawn, a very short time after the east has glowed with the golden hue of the dawn, the sun emerges to illumine the life in this world. Aruna, the dawn, heralds up the sun. Similarly, when we have constantly and diligently performed our meditation on truth and have by it begun to destroy the egocentric existence in us, in the very same process, the darkness which was obstructing the vision of the self in us is also removed, giving us the experience of oneness, revealing to our experience our own self. That which obstructs the vision of the self is our own mental agitations and egocentric vanities. Meditation quietens the thought flow and consequently the mind's extrovertedness. When a mind thus pacified and withdrawn from its outer activities turns inward, it springs forth to drown itself in the experience of the self and to become one with it. I repeat this last two. It is same as what Dr. Savitaji just now said, how we turn our mind inward. Soon after the early dawn, a very short time after the east has glowed with the golden hue of the dawn, the sun emerges to illumine the life in this world. Aruna, the dawn, heralds up the sun. Similarly, when we have constantly and diligently performed our meditation on truth and have by it begun to destroy the egocentric existence in us, in the very same process, the darkness which was obstructing the vision of the self in us is also removed, giving us the experience of oneness, revealing to our experience our own self. That which obstructs the vision of the self is our own mental agitations and egocentric vanities. Meditation quietens the thought flow and consequently the mind's extrovertedness. When a mind thus pacified and withdrawn from its outer activities turns inward, it springs forth to drown itself in the experience of the self and to become one with it. So, when through our meditation and other practices, we can overcome the raga dvesha. And when that early morning sun has dawned, then there is no place for the darkness. Very beautiful verse. Please share your understanding.
Lord Aruna is compared with the knowledge. Like he is the he is the remover of that ignorance, no? That
Hmm.
darkness before dawn, before the sunrise. So he is compared to the knowledge which one seeks. After seeking knowledge, only then that veil of ignorance is removed, and then when one meditate on that truth, then he destroys that ignorance, that I egocentric existence which he has. It is like the
Yeah.
practical part is, yeah, the meditation is the practical part which one does when he seeks that knowledge, and after that he meditates upon that, on that niti dhyasana we do, all that, like I think that manana,
Hmm.
then nididhyasnam, and then that practice of meditation. So
Correct.
it's yeah.
Yeah, very beautiful. The sword of knowledge as is compared with the Lord Aruna.
Lord Aruna story was that he was the son of
Yeah.
Rishi. I don't remember the Rishi name. Garud's
Kashyap and
father.
Vinita. Vinita and
When Venita was the mother, and
hmm.
his brother was Garud, and
Hmm.
the Rishi father's name was starting with S something. Um,
Not Kashyap, huh? Because
yeah.
there are two queens,
Uh,
Vainateya and Kudru.
Kadru.
Kadru, Kadru.
Kadru,
Sorry.
yeah. Though there were many sisters, they were all married to the Rishi Kashyap, and
Hmm.
this Kadru and Vanita, they were living together, and they asked after, like he was about to leave or some for his mm, sadhana. So they asked for he asked that whatever boon you want from me you can take. So Kadru asked for 100 sons, and Vanita asked just for two. And Kadru's, because she was like uh, her sons were basically the serpents, the nagas, and
Hmm.
their hatching time was small as compared to the humans. So they were both blessed, and then the two um, they were like in the egg form. The eggs were there, and the eggs of this Veneta, they were huge because it was to be in a human form. So as the eggs were hatching of Kadru, so she got desperate that how come my child is not born? And she used to she started envying her sister, and out of jealousy, she broke one shell, and the form which was incomplete in it, like only the upper half was there, the leg wasn't there. So he came out, and he cursed the Lord Aruna. He came out and he cursed his mother, that you will be in the seva of your sister always, and you will like how you were jealous of it, you will suffer at her hands only, and you will become a slave of her. And that is how she became that slave in her own this palace. And when Garud was born, then she realized the mistake, and then she waited for the next son. And he also said that that the your second child, which is not born, he will save you from this misery. And that was the curse. How he cursed his mother, and he went off in the seva of Lord Sun, because he did not have his legs, So he became a charioteer. He just had to sit on that chariot, and he had to drive the chariot before the sun god would rise. So this was the story. I think Nanaji shared once, and I also read it. Yeah, just wanted to share this.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful story about Aruna, Lord Aruna. So this line is also very important. Ignorance is the thick pall of vasanas. Ajnana is friend to the vasanas, which will stop us from realizing that samatvam with the rest of the creation. So we have to break through this vasanas, and that will happen only with the knowledge and intense vivek. Anyone would like to share? Very beautiful shloka as mentioned by Swamiji, 32 to 37. I think we have to 32 onwards, yeah. So the journey from head to heart, as Brahmaraji says.
This line itself explains, no, that which obstructs the vision of the self is our own mental agitations and egocentric vanities. So this is the whole uh,
Cause of
the
the
reality,
misery.
cause which leads to that ignorance and
I, me, and my world.
yeah.
Mhm. So when that world expands, then the problems are removed automatically. And meditation quietens the thought flow. So it will become calm and composed. That prashanta mana. The word was there in Bhagavad Gita.
When the outer world gets silenced, only then you would be able to drown yourself in that experience of the self, no? Such beautiful lines written.
Yeah. So you will not feel like coming out of that state. It will be meditation 24/7. You will be in that laya only. I mean, in that feeling. Yeah, anyone would like to share, please? Or even if it is one line, these are very beautiful verses. The words are so beautiful. It springs forth to drown itself in the experience of the self and to become one with it.
You say 24/7 it will be in Laya, but he or she will need extrovertness for the practical world, isn't it?
Yeah, that will be, meditation is not just sitting in one place and doing the
Means not
things.
doing nothing, like means he has
No,
to
no,
act,
it is
work, everything with the peaceful mind. Means that in the self only he will do that.
whatever activity he is doing, there is harmony. He is Arjavam. He is inside and outside. He is the same. That is what is meditation in, as Gurudev also explains, and even in Bhagavad Gita. Even though you are in pravritti, you will be as if you are nivritt. Pravritti mein nivritti or nivritti mein pravritti. We have to work. We cannot sit in one corner and say that I am enjoying and I will not come out of it. Isn't it?
Your swabhava will become like that. Means you will be very harmonious. Means in equanimity.
Correct,
And
correct. Hmm.
situations and people will not make you
Bother.
react. Yeah, they will be like you will be in harmony with every situation and with every person. Nobody will be able to make your mind in an agitated form. Everything would be more of in acceptance mode, and reactions would be very minimized. Almost maybe if a person realized, then no reactions would be there. No, like we heard a story about like how a person was like he was abused and he did not react, and he was praised, still then he did not react. So in that way the situations and people, they don't um, bother you, don't bother any whatever is happening. You are just in your own self inside. You know that you are the truth, so it is not affecting you at all. That state, that is just equivalent to the meditative state.
Jada Bharata, when he realized he did not utter a word, although he knew. Yeah.
And as in earlier shlokas, it said that the past and the future doesn't disturb. Uh, that could be because the self is kalatit and the present, past, uh, and future is it's one for him. So that's why many a times people have been saying that Guruji, when he looks at you, he knows your past, present, and future because he is able to see in and through because he's at that stage.
Yeah, so true. Yesterday, I was listening to Swami Sarvapriyananji, and he was telling that this realization of self becomes more intense in the presence of an enlightened master, in the presence of the place, calm place where these masters have stayed there. So that was something new I heard. So I just wanted to share that. That's why people are more attracted to be in the presence of those who are enlightened or to the places where they have lived for longer time, like ashram. So that's why even their glance makes us realize the truth.
And it's very true that when Guru talks about the jnana, there are no questions arise. That's what I've been observing. Like the other day, also, Guruji was talking about the rahasya, about Janma rahasya, and he talked about many rahasyas. uh, when I hear when we are reading, there would be why can I not know? This question arises in me, but when he says something, no questions arise. I just take it as is, and no questions arise over there. It's not deliberate effort, but this is what happens. Like coming through him. Uh, make you believe. But when you're reading on your own or studying, there would be many questions. It has happened with me that way.
That is why Guru Vakya
So
Shraddha
true.
is important.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can move forward if no one has to share. आत्मा तु सततं प्राप्तोऽप्य अप्राप्तवद विद्यया तन्नाशे प्राप्तवद् भाति स्वकण्ठाभरणं यथा Atma, the self, tu verily, satatam, always, praptah, the reality that is present, api, yet, apraptavat, is not realized, avidyaya, because of ignorance, tannashe, on the destruction of ignorance, praptavat, like an object newly gained, bhati, appears, swakanthabharanam, the ornament of one's neck, yatha, just as, atma tu satatam praptah, api apraptavat, avidyaya, tannashe, praptavat, bhati, swakanthabharanam, yatha. Atman is an ever-present reality. Yet, because of ignorance, it is not realized. On the destruction of ignorance, Atman is realized. It is like the missing ornament of one's neck. I read once again. Atman is an ever-present reality. Yet, because of ignorance, it is not realized. On the destruction of ignorance, Atman is realized. It is like the missing ornament of one's neck. Knowledge lies veiled by ignorance. Ajnanena avrutam jnanam. No one can give a dreamer his experience as a waker. The dreamer himself is the waker. Similarly, there is no need to acquire or create a new personality in me to get into the higher realm of experience. I am ever the eternal, infinite bliss. If, however, I am not that already, and if I have to build up that new condition for me, then listening to the study of the reflection upon and the meditation on the Upanishadic text are the means prescribed. Yet, we cannot say that because of these practices, Atman is created. If experience of the self is due to the sadhana, then when the sadhana, the cause ends, the experience, the effect must also end. What is created must die and end. The infinite, therefore, cannot be created as a result of the sadhana. The self is ever with us. We only recognize it when the causes for its veiling are removed through constant and sincere sadhana. So beautiful. So it is not due to the sadhana or other practices this is created. It is already there with us. The question is only realization of that Satchitananda. I repeat once again. Knowledge lies veiled by ignorance. Ajnanena avrutam jnanam. No one can give a dreamer his experience as a waker. The dreamer himself is the waker. Similarly, there is no need to acquire or create a new personality in me to get into the higher realm of experience. I am ever the eternal, infinite bliss. If, however, I am not that already, and if I have to build up that new condition for me, then listening to the study of the reflection upon and the meditation on the Upanishadic texts are the means prescribed. So, Nididhyasana and that harmony, developing, inculcating that harmony is important. Yet, we cannot say that because of these practices, Atman is created. If experience of the self is due to the sadhana, then when the sadhana, the cause ends, the experience, the effect must also end. What is created must die and end. The infinite, therefore, cannot be created as a result of the sadhana. The self is ever with us. We only recognize it when the causes for its veiling are removed through constant and sincere sadhana. This Atman is in all the states of experiences and in all beings and at all times. I repeat, this Atman is in all the states of experiences and in all beings and at all times. He is awake even while we are asleep, but we have not been aware of this eternal self in us due to our preoccupations with the misapprehensions of the reality. In fact, we live because of its illumination, but we are blind to that divine light. When ignorance is removed, when we are moved off from the enveloping darkness, the cataract in the wisdom eye is cured. The glory of the self is revealed, just as when the clouds move away, the sun, whose light is already there, shines upon us. So very beautiful. I repeat this lovely paragraph. Please pay attention. This Atman is in all the states of experiences and in all beings and at all times. He is awake even while we are asleep. But we have not been aware of this eternal self in us due to our preoccupations with the misapprehensions of the reality. In fact, we live because of its illumination, but we are blind to that divine light. When ignorance is removed, when we are moved off from the enveloping darkness, the cataract in the wisdom eye is cured. The glory of the self is revealed. Just as when the clouds move away, the sun, whose light is already there, shines upon us. When we have removed in ourselves the veiling over the ever-existent self, we exclaim as though we have found out something which was not already there. And this, however, is not the case. We are lamenting over something which we have not lost. We felt miserable over the loss of something which was not actually lost. But on the other hand, it had all along been with us. Sometimes we search for and get tired of our very disappointments when we cannot find our key, which perhaps lies all the time in our own pocket. A lady can despair at the loss of a necklace which is often still on her neck. We only rediscover the self which was all the time with us. When our ignorance regarding it ends through the discipline of meditations, we only rediscover the self which was all the time with us. I read the last paragraph once again. When we have removed in ourselves the veiling over the ever-existent self, we exclaim as though we have found out something which was not already there. And this, however, is not the case. We are lamenting over something which we have not lost. We felt miserable over the loss of something which was not actually lost. But on the other hand, it had all along been with us. Sometimes we search for and get tired of our very disappointments when we cannot find our key, which perhaps lies all the time in our own pocket. A lady can despair at the loss of a necklace, which is often still on her neck. We only rediscover the self which was all the time with us when our ignorance regarding it ends through the discipline of meditations. We only rediscover the self which was all the time with us. So beautiful. So if we conclude that through sadhana we are able to have that experience because that is the cause, then it is not true. As Gurudev also says, that Sudarshan Kriya will not lead you to the self-realization. Because the self is already there in all the states, in all the stages from the lifetimes. It is already there with us. So it is
What?
just
Yeah. What is needed is to let go. It is already there. It's just that we're holding on to our misidentity with everything, which is not true. So letting go of that misapprehension is what will reveal. Is that you already have it. You have the necklace. This lady has the necklace on her neck, but she's so desperately searching for it everywhere. So the self is, and because of the self, we are. Everything else is because of the self. Either the dreamer, the waker, the deep person who's in the deep sleep. All that is possible because of the self. And for that, the roadmap given earlier was listening to the scriptures, listening to the reflections of people who have realized. And of course, you cannot negate sadhana. Sadhana is what polishes the inner equipment so that we're able to reveal this. We're able to, this truth will be revealed. But that alone is not sufficient. If we think Sudarshan Kriya is what is going to give us moksha, because any action you do cannot lead you to liberation. Because every action is part of ignorance. And with ignorance, you cannot remove ignorance. You need the sword of knowledge for that. Jnanasina is only possible with the sword of knowledge. And that is that moment of realization. So all our practices are to be done. We cannot let go of them. That is only to bring us to that moment of preparation, preparing the mind so that that revelation can happen. It's like polishing the mirror or thinning the veil of ignorance. It's actually a thick veil, maybe a brick wall initially, and that is becoming thinner and thinner with practices, with that. That awareness builds up from within. Initially, the awareness is there momentarily, maybe. Then later, as you keep practicing your meditation, it stays with you. You're able to see, you're able to be in that witness mode. And then the more and more we do that, then the light dawns. Light is already there. It's only that removal, thinning of the veil and removing of the veil.
So beautiful.
These are the means to reach or clear the ignorance.
Instrument needs servicing. When it is properly working, it will be, means it will show us the clear image, or clear, means it will take to the self only. Gurudev says na, if your pot is filled, कोई भी भरा हुआ बर्तन में कुछ नहीं डाल सकते, तो बर्तन खाली होना चाहिए. So when we are so, mind is clear, what Patanjali says about the sadhana, how the vikshepas are gone through the body, mind and everything, then only we can have this. We already have the example of lady who is searching for her necklace, which was already on neck. And the example is so beautiful.
Yeah, so true. Very beautiful. Very nice. If our pot is already filled, then you cannot have anything new. And I was just extrapolating the example. The lady has the real necklace, which is already there, and she's looking for all the very shiny artificial ones, and she's planning to buy those artificial necklaces, that they are the real, assume. So in the whole external world, we keep on looking for that shine in the outside world, forgetting our own real necklace, which is already shining and which is giving shine even to this artificial necklace.
Yeah, that is one aspect. But I think this example is given to emphasize the fact that we have not lost anything or we are not gaining anything. It is already there with us. Swakantha bharanam yatha. So it is there with us. It is scintillating there. It's just that because of avidya, we are not able to recognize it.
Actually, it is said, no, it is not created. So we cannot find it. Means it is already there. Whatever is created, that will be end. So whatever experiences we get, that will be gone. But can you explain this thing?
See, anything that has birth has stay for a while and it will die. Even an experience, for that matter. If you're, like for instance, you're preparing yourself to meditation, you sit for meditation and you have a great experience. But that experience is born, it was not there before, it stays for a while and then it disappears. So even that is why in somewhere in Bhagavad Gita also, Swamiji had explained, even Nirvikalpa Samadhi is only a penultimate step. It is not the end. Because some disturbance in the environment, you can come out of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So it is only to prepare the mind. Whereas the very substratum on which this experience is happening is what we truly are. So there, the experience, the seer, the drashta, both the seer and the seen, and the experience, they merge. There is only one there. So that's eternal space. That eternal space, there is no question of you kind of being there. There's no beginning, no middle or end for that. It is what it is. That recognition that we are that eternal Nitya Nirmala Shuddha Chaitanya.
Thank
You cannot say, oh, I began to recognize Atma. It cannot happen that way. You recognize, that's it. Period. That is why it is said, Yam Gatva Nani Vartante. Once you reach that place, it's a point of no return.
Just please correct me if I'm wrong in my understanding. Like we cannot perceive Atma as self because it is. I don't have instruments to perceive it or see it. Like the telescope, I would need to see the faraway objects, but I cannot see myself, right? So, on the Sukshma Sharira level, where there is mind and intellect, I need a mirror, and mirror is the only instrument where I can see my reflection. And that's where the reflection is seen, not realizing the self. And can we equate that to meditation, this process? Because I cannot perceive in with my intellect the real self. That's why I need that mirror, that is my intellect, to perceive the self. And that's why I can only see the reflection, and that is short lived. Because I cannot see myself, the whole of myself. I can see only in the mirror myself. And that's why that reflection. And to realize that self at the bodily level or the mind level, I could see only the reflection. And that can be equated to meditation. Is my understanding right? Was I
Mrunalji,
clear? Haji?
yes. Can I give you one small analogy if it goes well with you? Two things I would like to share. If we know the method previously when we used to watch the cinema in the theater, there is one plastic putty. And on that plastic putty, when through the projector the light is thrown, we can see the photographs on the big cinema screen. Am I right, Mrunalji?
Yeah.
Huh? So our focus is on the screen and whatever is shown over there. If the putty is steady, there is only one photograph of that whole reel you can see. But the moment the reel starts moving fast, we can see continuously so many photographs within a few seconds, so that we think that it is a continuous action happening on the screen. And our whole focus is on the screen, and we get so much involved with the all emotions and all the characters and the story and everything. Am I right?
Yeah.
Now, sitting on the same seat, you change your position 180 degrees and look at that hole from where the light is coming. So you are now focusing to the source from where these things are operated. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Very clear?
Not really, because what I'm trying to look for is the light, and
No, first of all, tell me, forget about what you want to see. Just understand this.
This analogy, I got it.
Picture is very clear in front of you.
Yes,
The screen,
that's right. Yeah.
the person you are sitting and focusing on the screen, and from somewhere it is operated from behind you. The whole source of light and the patti moving, everything is from behind you. Now I am asking you to turn yourself and focus on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, now as we have learned body, mind, body, breath, intellect, mind, intellect, memory, ego, and self. These 7 levels of our existence. Okay, so now you are identifying yourself with intellect. When the intellect is focusing on body, breath, mind, when the intellect is focusing, like how you are sitting in the chair and looking at the screen, exactly same way your intellect is sitting on that chair and looking at the screen. And on what are the instruments through which the whole things you are seeing on the screen is your body, breath, and mind. Whatever inputs are given to these 3, you are, the whole screen is, you are seeing the whole projection, whatever is happening there. People, events, and whatever is objects, and your thoughts, your emotions, everything through these instruments you are looking at, which is a very limited thing. Now, if you change your position 180 degrees, so now your intellect is focusing on the source. For that, you will have to loosen up your holding onto your mind and memory.
Yeah, I get it now what you say.
Which is repetitively, we are going through the same things for lifetimes. The moment you change your position 180 degrees, now here sitting is intellect. Change it towards the source, the whole scenario, the whole picture, the whole understanding will shift. You will have to little bit wander over here, do little bit manana. The more clarity comes in your positioning, and that loosening of intellect, the hold on your mind and the situations and people, means that let go and allow the source, the nature to work through you. Then you just, your intellect and your whole instruments become just the nimitta for the prakriti to work through you. Then that expansion happens, the things will happen through you automatically. Then there will be no karma, you are completely liberated, kind of thing. And this process is on. So the best way is to understand this example. Then our practices will also take a different level, our meditation, our whole practices. That's what I don't know in
Yeah, it
another.
makes sense, definitely. Thank you so much.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
And Brahmaraji can elaborate and give some more clarity on the same question which you have put. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed, very, very beautifully explained. Dhanyavad Madhuri ji. Such a beautiful, deep explanation. So very nice. Thank you, thank you. Can someone help in taking over the session? If somebody is available, please.
I can do that. Just give me, I will have to share the screen then.
Yeah, no problem. I'll read till you are ready. Dhanyavad, Mrinalji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Anyone wants to share? Because this is so, I mean, it is giving a so wonderful feeling that wow, like Janaka. Oh, okay. I'll read the shloka. 45th. स्थाणौ पुरुषवद्भ्रान्त्या कृता ब्रह्मणि जीवता जीवस्य तात्विके रूपे तस्मिन् दृष्टे निवर्तते. Sthanam in the past, in the post, sthanam in the post, Purushavata like the man, Brantya because of delusion, Kruta is made, Brahmani in the Brahman, Jivata the Jivahood, individuality, Jivasya of the Jiva, Tatvike Rupe, the real nature, Tasmin in the self, Drishte where seen, Nivartate is destroyed. Sthanam Purushavata Brantya Kruta Brahmani Jivata Jivasya Tatvike Rupe Tasmin Drishte Nivartate. Brahman appears to be a jiva because of ignorance, just as a post appears to be a ghost. The egocentric individuality is destroyed when the real nature of the jiva is realized as the self. Mrunalji, if you
Yeah, I'll share. Thanks.
Yeah. Dhanyavad. Yeah. You can repeat the Tatparyam once again and please go ahead. Yeah. Brahman appears to be a jiva. Yeah, please go ahead. Dhanyavad.
Brahman appears to be a jiva because of ignorance, just as a post appears to be a ghost. The egocentric individuality is destroyed when the real nature of the jiva is realized as the self. The delusion alone can be imagined and recognized a post to be a ghost. Repeat again. In delusion alone can we imagine and recognize a post to be a ghost. In fact, misapprehension of the ghost has risen only from the non-apprehension of the post. Similarly, on the Brahman, which is the supreme self and the substratum for all, our ignorance projects our egocentric existence and its world of diversity. In this confused state, we spin and weave in us for ourselves a cobweb of our own creation. Thereafter, we get ourselves identified with our body, mind, and intellect. We are caught thus entirely in a net of our own creations hatched from our own ignorance. I can't believe this. The same example I was asking, but I didn't. I'll read it again. In delusion alone, we can imagine and recognize a post to be a ghost. In fact, the misapprehension of the ghost has risen only from the non-apprehension of the post. Similarly, on the Brahman, which is the supreme self and the substratum for all, our ignorance projects our egocentric existence and its world of diversity. In this confused state, we spin and weave in us our and weave in us for ourselves a cobweb of our own creation. Thereafter, we get ourselves identified with our body, mind, and intellect. We are caught thus entirely in a net of our own creations hatched from our own ignorance. When we have understood the one truth behind all these multiple existence, when we have begun to see the post behind the ghost, when we have started to experience the self in us like a dream, which is the end rolls back into the dreamer, which end rolls back into the dreamer. All this illusory existence loses its imaginary reality, the apparent truth with which we had painted them all in gay enchantment. Read this again. When we have understood the one truth behind all this multiple existence, when we have begun to see the post behind the ghost, when we have started to experience the self in us like a dream, which is the end rolls back into the dreamer, which is in end, sorry, I'll read this sentence again, which is in end rolls back into the dreamer, all this illusory existence loses its imaginary reality, the apparent truth with which we had painted them all in gay enchantment. The non-apprehension of the post caused all the misapprehensions as the head, trunk, limbs, dress, eyes, movements, etc. of the vivid vision of the ghost. The misconceptions was the ghost on the post. When the cause, the misconception dies, the effect, the ghost also ends. When the ego senses has ended, when the ego sense has ended, all that are its byproducts are also removed, and there is no more any bondage suffered. Non-apprehension of the post caused all the misapprehensions as the head, trunk, limbs, dress, eyes, movements, etc. of the vivid vision of the ghost. The misconception was the ghost on the post. When the cause, the misconception, dies, the effect, the ghost, also ends. When the ego sense has ended, all that are its byproducts are also removed, and there is no more any bondage suffered. Does anyone want to discuss on this? Okay, I'll read the next shloka. तत्त्वस्वरूपानुभावात् उत्पन्नं ज्ञानमञ्जसा अहं ममेति चाज्ञानं बाधते दिक्प्रमादिवत्. Tattvaswarupanubhavat, by experiencing the true nature of the self. Utpannam, produced. Jnanam, knowledge. Anjasa, is it Anjasa? Anjasa, instantly. Aham, I. Mama, mine. Iti, thus. Cha, and. Ajnanam, the ignorance. Badhate, destroys. Dig Brahmadivat, like the wrong notion about the directions. The ignorance characterized by the notion I and mine is destroyed by the knowledge produced by the realization of the true nature of the self, just as the right information removes the wrong notion about the directions. The ignorance, characterized by the notions I and mine, is destroyed by the knowledge produced by the realization of the true nature of the self, just as the right information removes the wrong notion about the directions. The experience born out of knowledge and the experience of the reality in an individual immediately and instantaneously destroys the ignorance, ajnana, which gave rise to the wrong notion in him of a false ego earlier. This wrong conception, this wrong conception of a limited, colored, distorted personality has been the cause for the agency of action and for the notion of possession, the I and the mine, and mine is everyone, in everyone, sorry. The experience born out of knowledge and the experience of the reality in an individual immediately and instantaneously destroys the ignorance, ajnana, which gave rise to the wrong notions in him of a false ego earlier. This wrong conception of a limited, colored, distorted personality has been the cause for the agency of action and for the notion of possession, the I and mine in everyone. When you feel confused as to the directions in a new town, whether it is east or west, the sunrise helps you to locate the directions correctly. Similarly, when the knowledge of the real dawns, the limited ego sense, till now living confused among the labyrinth of the matter, vestures and their perceptions, feelings, and thoughts, it gains an understanding of the right way of living in and experiencing through the various material equipments. When you feel confused as to the directions in the new town, whether it is east or west, the sunrise helps you to locate the directions correctly. Similarly, when the knowledge of the real dawns, the limited ego sense, till now living confused among the labyrinth of the matter, vestures and their perceptions, feelings, and thoughts, it gains an understanding of the right way of living in and experiencing through the various material equipments. Someone wants to elaborate on this?
It is how the sun gives you the knowledge of the direction. Similarly, when the knowledge of the self, it dawns, then all that ego sense, that confusion, that the how you were perceiving the world and all the thoughts which you were, whatever understanding you had of yourself and your surroundings, that experience, that perception, it changes. And how we relate ourselves by the body, mind, intellect level, sense organs, we stop doing that and we perceive the real self in us. That the matter on which our life was focused, all the layers of our body. We are living in that context. No, we all our desire, our likes, dislikes, then basically living at the body level. Once you have that realization, it's acts similarly to that sun which gives you the direction. So that knowledge, it gives you that understanding that what is the right way to live, basically. This is like my understanding. Anyone else can say further.
I just wanted to share the experience of the ego and how we falsely identify it. Mrinal, I'm just going to take this example. I hope you take it in the right way. Is, see, when you were reading the previous description, I think we're talking about the cobweb and things like that. So you had exclaimed, "Oh, I can't believe this. This is what I was asking." Correct? So at that split moment, that recognition of I was the small ego, isn't it? I was thinking about this, and this has come up now.
Yeah, but
So
later on the realization also came that was the wrong example I was giving. It was talking about the, the me, the small ego it was talked about, not the big I. Yeah.
Correct. So what I wanted to just share is that so often in our interactions, we tend to recognize and we move forward in our interactions with the world, with people, with this identification of the small I. But with the realization, with this knowledge, of course, each one of us over here is in a state of being able to identify the small I. May not be all the time, but at least in retrospect, when you're processing some situations, some interactions you've had, you can, in retrospect, understand and realize it's coming from the small I. So that if instead of in retrospect, if it happens moment to moment, that this is just happening, this is only happening through me, I am not the one enjoying, I'm not the one doing. That will be getting the hold of the ego on us will start getting looser and looser. Otherwise, very often, I mean, this happens to me also. I'm not saying, I'm just not singling out what you have mentioned. So often it happens to me. I mean, I've been having some, I need some solution to something going on. And it just so happens that Gurudev's knowledge, either in the satsang or something I may have read, some little knowledge tidbit that comes up, seems to be the answer for that. So I tend to take that recognition, feel good and say, oh, it's because of me. But it's not because of me. It is the very seeking is getting you the knowledge. That is, so this identifying ourselves from that. I'm not asking us not to feel good about it, but even subtly, if you start, that itself becomes like an impression. Oh, I'm so privileged. Every time I need something, I get it. Rather than that, feeling blessed, just feeling blessed and being in a state of wonderment. When you wonder, oh, this is what is happening, then that hold of the small ego will come down.
Yeah, because right now, me, the I, it's ego. It's not occasionally that pops up. It's almost all the time. It's with me, right? This is how I'm operating in this three sheets which I have, Sthula, Sukshma, and Karan Sharira. I am operating through that small I only, right, till now. Because I'm associating with this apparatus through that I only, isn't it? I haven't, though intellectually I'm thinking that yes, that big I, it's still a concept for me. I have not yet realized it. So till then, I am egocentric. That I have no two ways about it. What I'm talking about, me, I, it's coming from that egocentric I only.
Yeah, but
Knowing
when
that
you do that with the
intellectually and
awareness,
conceptually, I have understood that big I, not realized yet.
mm,
It's all
that's
the
what.
time. It's not occasional my ego comes up. No, I'm associating all my experience through that I only. I felt I am having doubt. I'm unable to connect to that big I yet. So my okay, everybody's understood. I did not understand that distinguishing between you, me, or anybody else. It's coming from egocentric I. That much is there, and what you said is definitely yes. I do feel that privilege sometimes. Yes, Mm, very good to point out that point. Yes,
Mrunalji,
yes.
last so many years, here and there, we are doing so many activities, some seva we take up, and with our own small mind, with our own memories and all, whatever is doable through us, we take up that sevas. But sometimes, definitely, you must have experienced that beyond your capacity, beyond your means, you had done something which really you cannot identify with that. I have done it. Absolutely, that experience you must have experienced somewhere while
Yes, yes.
serving
Yeah,
and
yeah,
something beyond
yeah.
your own memory, beyond your own understanding, you beyond your own mind. Some things must have happened through you, and you were completely mesmerized. And how come this happened? I have never done or experienced like this in my life.
Correct.
That is that you were guided by that big I, and you
Absolutely.
yourself
I mean,
have
I
surrendered.
recognize that energy, the bigger power which is working through me. No way,
Yes,
like that understanding I have. But when I'm dealing with everybody or anybody around me, I'm still working from that small I only.
yes. You had to use. If the elephant, mad elephant, comes running towards you, you cannot wait that big eye to work through you. That in that screen only, if the elephant is running towards you, you have to move this body mind complex, which is also part of the dream, part of that screen. You have to move that body, so you have to operate through the small eye. And that is the trick, na? That is the skill. Moment to moment, doing everything 100%, and that shift is definitely happening. uh, Daily routine, daily chores, all everything you are doing with the small eye only, na? And dealing with the situations around you, dealing with the people, and everything you are using your small eye. And that expansion also you have experienced. The more and more that small ego gets dissolved in the sense it is there, but no more we can too much identify with it. That process is definitely on. Sometimes we don't realize it, but it's definitely
Yeah.
happening to you also.
Jai Gurudev. I think we'll continue the discussion tomorrow. We'll close here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll play Maya Panchakam. Huh?
Okay.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. Is anyone able to play, or should I share screen?
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहह धनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पडीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना